Hey friends, I just want to show you in a quick video how simple and easy it is to make your own dried tomatoes. You don't need to spend your money buying sun-dried tomatoes or dried tomatoes in the store. Often they have sulfites in them, which if you're super sensitive like me, may produce digestive issues, acid reflux, uncomfortable abdomen sensations, bloating, gas, you name it. They're not the best thing to put in your body, and often the store-bought sun-dried tomatoes are expensive and packed in oil, salt, and like I said, with sulfites, so things that you may not want to consume. So I'm just going to show you really quickly the super simple 3-4 step process to making your own dried tomatoes. So in here I have a bunch of Campari tomatoes. These are really lovely, very fresh from Costco. You could also use Roma tomatoes or any kind of tomato that's like fairly small. Seems to work well. You can use cherry or grape tomatoes and just dehydrate them whole. That works too, but it tends to take more time. So what I do, step number 1 is I wash them off really well. I try to buy organic when I can, and high quality tomatoes. The higher quality, the fresher, the better. And like I said, the size does matter. So then next step, I place them on my cutting board and I just cut them in half. That's all it takes. And then I place them on my dehydrator tray. So they're cut in half just like this, and I place the smooth side, the bottom or the top, whichever it is, but the rounded side down. And I use just the regular aerated dehydrator trays because those are going to dry out faster than the Teflex non-stick trays. And I just arrange them and line them up just like this. You can space them farther apart. They may dry out a little faster that way. But I'm looking to make quite a few of these, so I am filling up my trays really well. And then these trays will go into the trusty dehydrator over here. I will create some space and I will show you what it looks like to put them in the dehydrator. So this is what I've ended up with. I've got 2 full trays of tomato halves ready to be dehydrated, and one that is 2/3 of the way full, something like that. And I will let these dehydrate at 105 to 115 degrees for as long as they need to. I let them go completely dry. I will show you what they look like when they're finished. You want them to be completely dry so that they don't get moldy. And then you'll also want to store them in something like an airtight container. I often use jars like this, and I store them in the fridge because I have made these in the past and stored them on the counter or something like that, and they've gotten moldy. Granted, I live in Arizona and it's quite dry here, so that probably wouldn't happen here. But I'd rather be safe than sorry since I took the time to make them, and I want them to stay fresh and be usable, because friends, it sucks to run out of sun-dried tomatoes and have a recipe that you really want to make that calls for them, and then you're like, oh, I have to buy them, and then it can be hard to find them in a store where they're unsulfured, they're organic, they don't have salt, they don't have oil, yada yada yada. So I like to make a lot of them at a time, and I like to store them properly so that they last and I can use them and have them on hand whenever I want them to make into delicious raw vegan recipes. So I will check back in with you when they are finished, and yeah, Until then, take care. Hey friends, we are out in the sun with the sun-dried, not really sun-dried, but dried tomatoes that I made in the dehydrator. And I ended up drying them in the dehydrator for about 48 hours, which was longer than was necessary, but you know, they're really, really nice and completely dried out, no more water left, which means for storage, they're gonna work really well in this glass container. You can see they've been in the fridge, so they're like fogged up a little bit. And I have a covering for them as well that fits this glass container perfectly. So that's where and how I will be storing them. And then I use them in all kinds of sauces, in raw soups, in different raw entrees, savory dishes. They're very versatile. And again, they don't contain sulfites, oil, salt, anything. It's just the tomatoes, and the Campari tomatoes work really well. The Roma tomatoes work really well. You can even do cherry or grape tomatoes whole if you're feeling super lazy, but they're just going to take longer to dehydrate. I will link in the description to a blog post on how to do these so you have more specific instructions, but it's really, really simple and I encourage you to try it. Let me know in the comments, do you make your own dried tomatoes? Any tips or tricks you may have? And please like this video if you like it, subscribe for more. Check out in the description, you can get my recipe book if you want some recipes using dried tomatoes and other fun raw vegan creations for your dosha, for ultimate balance, love, peace, harmony in body, mind, and spirit. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more. Much love to you. Namaste.